We are tracking Hurricane Beryl as it takes aim at Jamaica. It has already moved through some of the windward islands, causing damage from rain, flooding, high winds, and so much more. Forecasters are warning people that they need to be ready for just about anything.
That includes having an emergency kit, so having medical items and medical tools and medicine that you would need ahead of time, along with having non-perishables, having gas, having water, about a gallon per person and per day for about 7 days.
Safety experts say people in danger should have an escape plan ready to go just in case they are ordered to leave. And take a look at this. Flight crews from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration are collecting data from the eye of the powerful hurricane as it crosses the Caribbean. You can see the swirling clouds and the wall from that storm. It's already that is being blamed for at least 6 deaths. So let's bring back in Mike Kaplan for a look at current conditions. Wow, Mike, that looks so frightening.
I have never flown into a hurricane like that with the P-3 Orion crew, which is what that aircraft is there. But it's just a remarkable kind of idiosyncrasy of nature that you have this enormous storm, and right in the middle of it, everything is calm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Everything is calm, and it's because of the intense motion in the atmosphere there that is preventing the clouds from forming right in the center of that hurricane. But that is just incredible.
Yeah, scary.
And of course, when these planes fly into that wall of the storm, that's when they get buffeted the most, and that's consequently where the worst of a hurricane is. All right, here's a look at Hurricane Beryl. 145-mile-an-hour winds. Yes, that is less than what they were yesterday when they peaked at 165. So we've gone from a Category 5 to a Category 4. We're splitting hairs in the type of damage that can be done in this situation. There are still wind gusts of 175 miles per hour. Here's a little geography. Hispaniola, this is the island on which the Dominican Republic is located and on which Haiti is located. Here is Jamaica, and that's the eastern tip of Cuba here. And over there you've got Grand Cayman Island. The storm right now is pummeling Jamaica, even as the eye of the storm. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The eye is kind of difficult to see right now. Let me run you through here a little satellite loop. Very difficult to see the eye. Remember a couple of days ago it was this perfect dark dot here. That's not the case now, but the storm is just offshore, south of Kingston, Jamaica. The strongest part of hurricanes, other than the eye wall itself, is right of the center of movement. So some of the worst winds associated with this, some of the highest storm surge, that wall of water that comes in with a hurricane, is right on that southern coast of Jamaica, which is where Kingston is located. So on Jamaica right now, they're getting hit with hurricane force winds, probably 100 plus right along the coast, a huge storm surge, and of course torrential rainfall. There is also an awful lot of rain, wind, and wave action hitting Haiti and even into southern portions of Cuba. So the storm, even if it doesn't directly hit Kingston, and let me go ahead and put up the latest National Hurricane Center track. Category 4 storm. It is likely that the center of circulation is going to stay just south of Jamaica, but close enough that it makes very little difference in its overall impact to the island. From there, by the time we get to tomorrow morning, here's Grand Cayman Island. The storm, once again, probably not going to make a direct hit, but it is close enough that Grand Cayman is going to be hit with major hurricane force winds, damage, the whole shebang. Then we'll bring you a little bit farther to the west here. By the time we get to wee hours of the morning Friday, here's the position at 7 p.m. We're now down to a Category 2 storm. There's going to be some shear winds aloft that kind of interact with the hurricane in a negating factor, disrupts the circulation, can blow in dry air. By the time it makes landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula, it is definitely going to be a weaker storm. From there, it will continue to move past land, where it will weaken to a tropical storm. That's what that symbol means. Then it's into the Bay of Campeche. That's what this southern end of the Gulf of Mexico is. And after that, it may intensify again to hurricane strength, and you get the idea, all right, it's kind of pointed right here into the Mexico-U.S. border in southern Texas. So the end game for this storm, which would happen latter half of the weekend, is yet to be determined. So you got Jamaica getting hit right now, Grand Cayman late tonight, and then the Yucatan is going to get hit on Friday, and the latter half of the weekend, probably both, the east coast of Mexico and portions of southern Texas will be dealing with a weaker storm, but still an impactful one. Sylvia, back to you.
Are we going to feel any remnants of rain from that later in the week?
Unlikely.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Mike.